very intentional steps. And I remember now when my ex now broke up with me, because that was a time also where I was really trying to be in touch with myself. I went home and I told myself, okay, now I'm gonna go for a walk and feel that feeling, whichever it is that's gonna come. And I was walking and asking myself, what are you feeling? Is it sadness? Is it disappointment? What is the feeling? What do you call this feeling? If you had told me this 10 years ago, I would have thought it's a small thing.
Yeah.
But
But
it
has so much impact.
the attitude
Yeah.
that I take out there. And I think
The energy, the whole energy around you.
Yeah.
You transmit that.
Yeah.
A lot.
It was like a repellent. You will look at me and you will move. And you don't know why.
That she did not have, or that she was not in touch with the part of her that could ask for a hug. So that's me. When I'm lonely, when I'm just everything is that. So I'll not tell you I'm lonely. I'll just start being really mean and criticizing, and that's my way of saying I need you now. Being able to work on yourself, just knowing this is my problem. The biggest problem is I have to work on my facial expressions. I can mean one.
Yeah, you talk with your face, Carol. You even talk with your body, not just your face. Even the way you just move like this, you're like, okay. Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of your favorite conversation, Far From Home Diaspora Conversations podcast. My name is Wamboi, and we are glad that you've joined us again to listen to us. We really appreciate you. We do not take your time for granted. Thank you for being with us all through. And today we've brought with us another interesting topic. But before that, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to our sponsors, TEDx Media, for staying with us this long, for taking care of our recording. And if you need someone to do your website, to do your planning for your business, then stay tuned, and you're going to hear about TEDx Media in the course of our conversation. So, Carol, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Wamboy, and thank you for saying my name. Sometimes I forget.
Yeah.
I forget that there's some new people here. My name is Carol Mimbrock, and I'm feeling good to be here today.
Yeah.
And our topic is also a nice one today, because
What
I
are we
think
talking about?
after last time heavy topic, I don't know if you guys have listened to that episode about addiction. You should, because it's a deep one.
Yeah.
So we today are talking about self-care and what we do to make sure that we continue functioning and possibly thriving and not only surviving. And there's a lot of things we have adopted with time that we do more of sometimes not so much of, but somehow maybe it's even the age we are in that we think that some things are important. And maybe you can start by saying how you have progressed with time, and maybe things you thought were not so important that you now do and think are important, and you don't, you're serious about them, and there's no negotiating, you do them. Yeah.
That's an interesting one, and a good one as well. Because I think when I think about that topic, I feel like I have lost tolerance for some things. There are things I'm no longer willing to do. Like concrete examples, there are places I'm no longer willing to go to. There are people I'm no longer willing to hang out with. And this used to be especially difficult for me when I was new in Germany, or when I was studying. I would find myself in places, spaces, conversations that I did not want to be in. And but I would still go. That was the crazy thing about it. I
Mm,
would still go to those places. Maybe because I had the fear of missing out on some things. There are times when I thought staying home on a Friday evening is the worst thing that can happen to me, or going to bed at 8
mm,
is like my life is over. Uh, but I love those moments these days.
mm.
Sometimes I go to bed at 8 p.m. and I'm so happy about that.
Yeah.
I love my own company. I just really, really love spending time with myself. I go a lot for walks.
Mm.
Me and my walks. My
Yes.
walks are
Especially
holy,
nightly walks.
especially nightly walks. I cannot sleep well if I don't go for a walk. I have tried.
Mm.
It has become such an important part of my life that I really have to get out of the house, go for a walk, calm my thoughts down, and then go to bed. Um, and there's no negotiation with that.
Yeah, that fascinates me a lot. These you and your walks, it's just amazing how consequent you are about
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that you do them. Sometimes when you spend at my place, I wake up in the morning, those days when we were sleeping at 3 just
Mm-hmm.
talking,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think, oh, Ambo is sleeping, and then I no, she's already out for a
Yeah,
walk,
yeah.
and that's amazing. That's
It is,
amazing.
and
When you have non-negotiables, you are
yeah,
doing it regardless.
regardless,
Yeah.
and I'm doing it for me.
Mm,
I've always had non-negotiables, but they were always for other people. Like for my mom, for example, there were always things that were non-negotiable.
mm,
I have to support my mom, come what,
mm,
or to going to work for me is non-negotiable.
mm.
Unless I'm really sick, then I go to work. I don't negotiate about that. But when it came to doing things for myself, I would negotiate with myself,
Mm.
like, do you really have
Have
to go to
to.
bed now?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wake up, my job requires me to wake up at early,
Mm,
at least at 5:30 I have to be awake. And I would still go to bed at 2. I would still work in the night until 2.
mm.
And such things, my walks help me because once I've gone for my walk, which is maybe around 10 to 11 p.m., then I know it's time to sleep now.
Ah, okay.
And
Okay.
anything else I do after that, I know now this is me being bad to myself.
Mm,
So these are things that are helping me you know, to be more in touch with myself. And we also talked a lot about numbing. And because I don't numb so much anymore, I
mm,
still numb, but it's with less things. So I need also a lot of time to process the day. And so in most evenings, I go for a walk and look back in the day, what happened during the day. Um, I have phases where I write gratitude lists every day. So those
mm,
are things I think about. And when I go to for the morning walks, I really take that time to really get in touch with myself, in touch with my God, and just accept this day and
mm.
tell God, please see me through this day. And also, the intention, put in the
Mm.
intention. What do I
Yeah.
want
Yeah. Yeah.
this day to, what am I afraid of?
Mm.
Because there were times like when I was doing my referendaria, to remember, I was in a lot of fear, a lot of
Mm.
anxiety,
Yeah. Yeah.
and actually putting a name to that. I
Mm.
am scared of this person.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so whenever I have those thoughts that are very concrete, then it's no longer something big that I'm scared of. It's very concrete. And
This is
once
the
it's
thing I'm
concrete,
scared of. Yeah.
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 And once it's concrete, it's no longer so big.
Yeah.
It,
And
it
it requires
loses.
a lot of being in touch with yourself and with your own feelings to be
Yeah.
able to, because when you're numbing, you
Yeah.
cannot come to that point
You
where you are
cannot.
pointing these things out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's a huge step.
And I also noticed once I stopped numbing, because for me it was a very intentional step. I need to stop numbing.
Mm,
I realized that I didn't have a name for many, many feelings I had.
mm,
So it was like I would just have one complicated big feeling, which was just overwhelming. and so it needed to be numbed.
Ah, okay.
And I remember there's a
You
time
did not break down
I did not know
what
what it
is now.
was.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's the
Okay. Okay.
feeling?
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
call that feeling?
Mm,
And I remember when my ex broke up with me, he did that over the phone. And so what I usually would do was I hear something like that and I wouldn't care. It's like it wouldn't arrive in my brain.
mm.
I will not process it. And then some 2 weeks later is when I would realize, wait, what happened? Because my brain just refused to process to process that
At that
information.
time.
Yeah, and so sometimes people will think I don't care. I've been accused a lot about being arrogant or not caring, but for me, those were moments where I just blocked. It's
It's
as if
too
it,
much for you to process at that moment,
yeah. So
and your body just
it just
pushes
blocked
it
it.
away. Yeah.
Yeah. So I either sleep or I'm like, well, okay, bye. It just doesn't arrive, and it for me it has taken very intentional steps. And I remember now when my ex now broke up with me, because that was a time also where I was really trying to be in touch with myself. I went home and I told myself, okay, now I'm gonna go for a walk and feel that feeling, whichever it is that's gonna come,
Mm,
and I was walking and asking myself, what are you feeling? Is it sadness? Is it disappointment? What is the feeling? What do you call
mm,
this feeling?
mm.
And it was such an interesting experience for me, because once I started being, it's like forschung. It's like just really wanting to find out what is it.
Researching.
It's
Yeah.
like research. I was very
Mm,
curious about it.
mm,
What does this do to me when
mm,
someone breaks up with me?
mm.
And for me, I actually found out it was fear. It was not even sadness. It was fear of being abandoned, fear of being
Ah,
alone.
yeah.
It was not anger. I was not angry at
Mm,
him. And it was
mm,
so interesting, because before that, I thought I was angry. But once I realized, oh no, I'm just afraid, then it's easier for me to deal with it,
mm.
because then I can deal with it by myself. If I'm angry, then I'm blaming. I'm with the other
Yes,
person.
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And if I know it's fear, then I know this is my job. This is some work that I need to do on myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like self-care, self-awareness,
Yeah.
and just this being in touch with yourself and with your feelings. I have struggled a lot with that, and I'm still struggling to some
Mm,
point, but like you, I'm allowing myself
mm,
to feel the things. For
mhm,
me, it was, you say you are blocking it.
mm.
For me, it was always this,
Fighting it. Hmm.
yes,
Yeah, it's a
this,
fight or flight.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
this this thing would always come out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you say you are going to break with me, then I am a lion. I'll tear you down, and I'll hurt you so much that you'll
Mm-hmm.
go crying. You can go, but you will go crying.
You will not live
You
unscathed.
will not, that.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that from somewhere,
Yeah. Yeah.
just hurting people.
Mm,
Um, that was the only way.
mm,
It's the only way I knew how to deal with people.
mm-hmm.
You just hurt people,
Mm-hmm.
and they won't hurt you back,
Mm.
because you are this lion that everybody should be afraid of.
Afraid of, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you become
So yeah,
unapproachable.
unapproachable.
Mm,
And for me, it was everything. I was listening to Jada Pinkett Smith's book,
mm,
and there was a part that stayed with me where she said, and of course I'm paraphrasing, that she did not have, or that she was not in touch with the part of her that could ask for a hug.
mm,
So that's me.
mm-hmm.
When I'm lonely, when I'm just,
Mm,
everything is that.
mm-hmm.
So I'll not tell you I'm lonely.
Mm,
I'll just start being really mean
mm-hmm.
and criticizing, and that's my way of saying I need you now.
Mm.
But of course, the other
So
person doesn't know that.
counterproductive.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what I'm doing is pushing them
Pushing,
more
yeah.
away. I don't know how to ask somebody to give me a hug. Like, I need you now. So that is something didn't I didn't learn. I didn't know how to do. And I am doing a lot of that now. I am intentionally, of course, starting with my kids. I tell them nowadays I have to be careful not to do a lot of it, because now I'm like, oh, I need a hug, please. And I really need it. I feel like I love hugs. I really, really love hugging people. That warmth. I feel like I need all the hugs I didn't get when I was growing up. And I'm learning, and that is for me becoming very aware of that.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of work, I should say, in the last 5 years on myself. I've read so many books, and I talked about therapy and other things that I am experimenting with now that are really helping me. I mean, when the time comes for that, I'll talk about that too. Because I don't want to stop doing work on myself. And it's so important. And the thing is, when I started doing these things, it's like I was doing them. I'm doing therapy so that I can be good for my kids. In the beginning, it was doing therapy, maybe even to kind of save my marriage, which I was not able to. I was, at some point, I fought so much with that because, like I said, my whole life has been a battlefield, and it's always fighting and trying to always go through the wall with my head, and it hurts.
It does. It hurts you.
Yeah, it hurts a lot. So what I'm doing now, after doing all this work, is knowing that, I'm doing it for myself.
Yeah.
I'm doing this work for myself first, for us.
Yeah.
Last time I was talking about us. Us is that young
I and
girl,
I.
that, yes, that monster that I have to tame, and really work on taming that monster, because it's a big monster.
It's a problem.
It's a big one, and I acknowledge that, and that is the first step.
Exactly.
In being able to work on yourself, just knowing this is my problem. The biggest problem is I have to work on my facial expressions. I can mean one.
Yeah, you talk with your face, Carol. You even talk with your body, not just your face. Even the way you just move like this, you're like, okay.
There was a time my sister was here, and she told me, and I'll never forget that. She told me, sometimes we would get ready, we are going out, all of us, and they would come down the stairs. That means my kids, my sister, and my husband.
I don't know why
And
I'm
I would
laughing.
look at them, and everybody would start arranging something. Is it my socks? Is it my hair? Have I brushed my teeth? Just one look. Just turning and looking at them was like, something is wrong with me. I have to. And my son is like, Nini. But I was like, I haven't said anything.
You have looked.
You have just looked. So my face says a lot. And yeah, I'm working a lot on I don't know what I'll do about my face, but having it so inside, because it shows on the outside.
Yeah.
Just showing my kid, I'm happy to see you now. Not when they come in, why have you not tried? Yeah, why this look of there's something wrong with you? That and you'll always find something. With kids, you'll always find something.
With everybody, actually.
With everybody.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're looking for, you'll find it. So nowadays, is they come in, I'm smiling, and I mentally prepare myself to do that. So I know it's time for them to come from school. And I tell myself, when he comes in here, I'll smile, I'll hug him. And it's not like I'm I'm preparing myself to pretend. I'm just consciously saying this will be a happy moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because I know myself, and I've had that a lot. I just look at somebody and
Vernichtend.
yeah.
It means destroying.
Yeah, destroying. Yeah. I have that look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because I realize like the more I am not self-criticizing, the less I need to criticize others.
Exactly.
And there's a time I had there was someone I
Exactly.
was working with, and it was in a phase where I was really critical about my whole self. Every single part of hair, cell on my body was not good enough. And of course, I would get out and nobody was good
Was
enough.
good enough. Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's so
this woman gave me an exercise and told me, every day you will find someone random, you will tell them something good about themselves. And I'll never forget one of these exercises. I got into a train and I saw a woman wearing yellow high heels, yellow with polka dots. And the shoes were so beautiful. And I went to her and I told her, I love your shoes. And she was so happy.
Wow.
And this moment just never left me. Like, how much joy can you create by just appreciating someone?
Yeah, but just being nice to.
By just being nice. Just one thing can change somebody's day positive,
Yeah.
and one thing can change somebody's day negative.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
is it necessary?
No.
It doesn't help. It doesn't help to be so critical all the time, even about myself. And those are things, because this is what we're talking about, the things that have become a part of me that I will never have thought they are relevant. I think that's something for me. If you had told me this 10 years ago, I would have thought it's a small thing.
Yeah.
But
it has so much impact.
The attitude that I take out there. And I think
The energy, the whole energy around you.
Yeah.
You transmit that.
Yeah.
A lot.
It was like a repellent. You will look at me and you will move. And you don't know why. You have no idea. You find me I was this angry person. And for me, and we've had these conversations as well, it was also a lot about racism. Racism affected me in a very, very negative way. It was like the way you're saying you have this monster. For me, it was walls. Once I got out of the house, I had to protect myself so much, because I think racism really got into my core, especially maybe through the university, and all, experiencing these things every time. So I had a lot of self-protective mechanisms, and really just the way I was sitting tightly, everything
closed.
You wouldn't want to talk to me. And it's such it costs so much energy.
Yeah, it does.
It costs so much. And the funny thing is, I will achieve exactly what I expect to achieve. And right now, taking responsibility of myself, of how I feel, like knowing very well that I am responsible for how I feel right now. It's been such a helpful thing for me to understand. If I go to bed late,
you'll be
I will be
fucked
wasted
up in the morning. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
Yeah.
And taking responsibility and saying, no, I'm just going to be kind to myself and go to bed now. It looks like a small thing, but add up these moments.
Yeah.
And you just have a bad life. And every day just gets worse and worse and worse.
Oh, yes.
And in the end, you're just tired, sick and tired. Yeah.
So what I'm also doing now, I told you I don't watch what are the series?
Series
anymore, because I get so addictive. I am the kind of person who is prone to addiction, so I get addicted.
Binge on anything.
I get addicted very fast to things. So if I'm watching something that is very interesting or spannend.
Exciting.
Yeah, exciting.
Mm.
I cannot stop. So things like
Haus des Geldes.
House des Geldes, that's Money Heist.
Money Heist,
I
yeah.
was watching Money Heist like crazy until 5 a.m. in the morning. Blacklist. That was terrible. It was terrible because I could not sleep. And it's like you watch, one is about 50 minutes and you're thinking, oh, where it
Can't
ended.
leave it here.
I just want to see what
One
happens.
just there.
Just the first minutes. And of course, they don't give you the first minutes and show you exactly what happens after that. And I stopped. Here is a quick one to tell you about our sponsors, TDX Media. I've been working with TDX Media for about 5 years now, and this has saved my life, literally saved my life. TDX Media has a way of helping you to optimize your office work. So I am a very chaotic person. My office was looking like you can imagine it. And then TDX Media came and they really helped me to optimize the processes, especially the processes of how I work, what should happen when, they came and advised me. They came and sorted out most of my files and all that because I am not that. And then my website, it's beautiful because it is being maintained, it is being serviced by TDX Media. And then the CEO of the company, Christian Tiedemann, who does all that, comes to you, advises you, he talks to you, he listens to your needs, and then crafts everything according to how you need it, but adding his professionalism in everything that he does, such that at the end of it all, and he will not use anything he doesn't think is okay for the person visiting your website. So if your photos are not good enough, then he'll not put them in. And that is the level of professionalism that I need when I'm working with someone, so that they just don't do everything I tell them to do. They tell me, okay, it's your website, but it has my name on it. So he will not do anything that is not professional enough. And the other thing is event management. Guys, these guys are so organized. TDX Media is so organized. They have taken control and over. They organize our African festival, which happens every year. So I have nothing to do with it. The first year I organized it myself. I almost went crazy. And nowadays I just get calls, or when we're talking, it's a yes, no, no, and I have nothing to do with it. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. I love working with these people. I love the way they, present themselves in a way that is, I will talk about professionalism the whole time because that is what they are. They are professionals. And you see that in everything they do. When they're doing consultations with you, they are very specific in everything that they're doing. You can only be satisfied when you're working with TDX Media. And I'm so glad that I have trusted us now to sponsor our podcast. And I've been working with them all this time, satisfied with their work. I'll continue working with them. So please visit their website, www.tidix.de. That's www.tidexx.de. Visit them because you'll be doing yourself a favor. Thank you so much. Really. And I take that and I appreciate that for myself as self-care.
Yes.
And what I'm doing now, I now watch a lot of podcasts. So the most surprising thing for myself nowadays, I could be sitting watching, and I have these things where I'm saying 1 hour to 30 minutes before I go to bed, I'm not watching anything, not my phone, not television. And I look at my watch and it's 9. And it doesn't matter at what point that sentence is at, I'll switch it off.
Nice.
I switch it off. And I go get ready for bed and I go to bed. And that is something I was not doing.
It's a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at my sleep data, and it's like my average at the moment is 7.5 hours sleep every
Wow.
night.
Oh
Every night.
my God.
No, not every night. Some exceptions, like when I have cooking class. So
Mhm.
we finish at 10. So
Yeah.
I'm home. But average.
That's a very good average.
Yeah.
I'm still
Yeah.
at 5 hours,
Yeah.
even with as much self care.
Mm,
But I notice, like for me, I also used to binge watch a lot.
mm,
And for me, actually, I took this to God. Really, for me,
mm.
with every kind of addiction I've had,
Yeah. Yeah. Take it. Me
I've
too.
had
I
really had to
pray a
tell God,
lot. Yeah.
please help me to stop punishing myself because
Mm.
it's self
Yeah.
punishment.
It's self punishment.
And I noticed at some point I still watch series, but even like with yourself, at some
You
point
switch it off.
it's it's no longer something I don't force myself to
Mm,
go through that, you know.
mm,
And for me, this has a lot of with to do with taking responsibility for my feelings, actually, for my emotional well-being.
mm,
And like the way you were talking about hugs, I've really also learned how to say this is what I need now, or I don't have enough capacity, whether it's financial, whether
mm,
it's even emotional capacity to deal with things.
mm. You're good at that.
I'm learning. I'm not good
Yeah.
at it.
Okay, but you do it.
I do
You
it,
do
but I
it
feel bad
in a
while doing
way.
it
Okay. But I know you as that person who will say, I'm not in a financial situation or a capability to do
to
that
do this.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I cannot come because I have to prepare for my lessons,
Yeah.
even when something is important.
Mm,
Like the podcast. Sometimes you
yeah.
say you cannot.
Just can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't. Yeah.
It's actually it's getting easier. It's really getting easier the more I do it.
Mm,
With this realization, I'm just one person and no one will die. I someone told me, and people who know this will know what I'm talking about. Don't take yourself too damn seriously, and that makes so much sense. Like, not assuming that the world
would stop.
will stop
Mm,
just because I've not done something.
mm,
For me, has been the greatest lesson in my life, because as a firstborn, I used to think the world will stop if I don't do A, B, C, D,
mm.
and you name it. There's always things to do. There's always so much to do, and learning that, and sometimes just reminding myself, you're not that important. You are replaceable.
Mm,
Actually, I am
mm,
always replaceable.
mm,
That helps me to understand what's important now. I need to do this now, and I also need to do the other thing, but I can't do both.
mm.
So
Yeah,
I have to pick one
yeah,
and
yeah.
then live with that decision,
Mm.
and find that nobody dies when I do that. In fact, I am a better person to other people
When you're doing that,
when I'm doing
when you're
that.
taking care of yourself in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because what I used to do before was I would overspend myself. Again, when I say spend, I mean emotional, spiritual,
Not
financial
only,
capacity.
yeah, yeah,
And then I will be resentful.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then I will be a bad person to you
Mm,
now. Because then there's all these thoughts in my mind,
mm,
but I'm the one who's not taking responsibility. I'm the
mm,
one who's not saying, I actually can't do this.
mm. So you
So,
do it for someone and then you're angry at
and then
them.
you're angry at them.
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
hurts them even
yeah, yeah.
more.
I know.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's an important one. Not overspending yourself,
Yeah.
and like you said, it's not only financially, because mostly we think about money.
Yeah.
It's not. It's your emotions. It's your
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
It's you and your ability even to give love and
And to ask
attention
for it.
and to ask for it.
I'm
Yeah.
actually asking for love these days.
Mm.
Like I'm seeing someone and I intentionally tell them sometimes I need love right now. This is what
Mm.
I need right
Oh
now.
wow.
And it's such an amazing thing, because before that I'll be feeling resentful about something, and then I realize actually what I need is just love.
Mm.
And as soon as I speak that out, whether
Mm.
they can give me love or not,
Yeah.
that resentment is gone.
It's gone.
So
Yeah.
putting words into why am I, especially when I'm
Yeah.
resentful.
Mm.
Any resentment I have, it's never about the other person. Every time I'm resentful, it's about me and something that I'm not getting enough of.
Mm,
Either attention, mostly it's actually love.
mm. But how does that look for you when you ask for love? When you ask somebody you need love now,
Mm,
what is it you're expecting from them?
love, whichever way they give it. Like if I call you and tell you I need love, and maybe you tell me something nice, that's it.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
even just
maybe.
acknowledging
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Maybe asking it in another way. What is your love language?
My love language is kindness.
Okay.
Um, if yeah, kindness. I
Mm,
need kindness in all its forms. Like you talk a lot about hugs. Um, I cannot take hugs from everybody. For example,
mm,
I have difficulties with that.
mm,
But just normal kindness. You're gonna manage to do this. It's going to be okay. Mostly,
mm,
it's going to be okay. Or a hug from people that I can take that from,
mm,
or anything that is kind. Really,
mm.
is already enough for me. Sometimes I tell another friend of mine who lives very far away, I need love, and of course she can't come.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
maybe she writes something.
Mm,
Just the acknowledgement
okay. Yeah,
for me
yeah.
mostly is enough.
Mm,
Love for me has many languages these days. And maybe what I'm asking for is not love, but right now it's one big thing called love.
mm.
And maybe with time it will get more specific.
Okay. You can dismantle it and
Yeah.
put it into different.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
I
sometimes
have
it's attention. I need
attention.
attention.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course I don't want to tell people what I need attention because it sounds childish.
Mm.
But
So you say
sometimes I
love.
just want
Yeah.
attention. so,
Here,
so
please, I'm here.
tell me you can see me.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. That you can see me.
Yes, see
Because
me.
that
Can you
is
see
one
me?
thing that really, I think that makes me, it's one of my triggers.
Yeah.
Not feeling seen
Hmm.
triggers me so badly.
Me too. Yeah.
And I see that with my kids. I saw that in my marriage a
Mm,
lot.
mm,
And like I said, whenever I
mhm,
don't feel seen,
mhm,
now I am. You will look at
mhm.
me.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're seeing me,
Yeah. You
but
will look at
whatever
you
I'll
in
do,
shock.
you you look at me in shock.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm,
and that I'm now working on that.
mm.
When I don't feel seen, I'm that little
Ungenießbar.
girl
Mm.
again who nobody cares about, and that is a big trigger for me.
I know.
Yeah.
And me, I
And
reciprocate.
mm,
And I can do that in a very mean way. I can be very passive aggressive.
mm,
You can be there and I will refuse to see you and you will know it without shouting.
mm,
And this is how my mom was like. This is how I learned. My
mm,
mom was a very passive aggressive person.
mm-hmm,
She wouldn't shout at us,
mm.
but you will
She
feel the coldness sipping. It
yeah.
was, and I can be that as well. I can be a
Mm,
very, very cold person.
yeah.
I think I am as warm as I am cold because I can also be very warm,
Mm,
but I can be very, very cold in a
mm,
very, yeah, very cold way,
yeah.
which also hurt people a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, but with us, like you say, your mom, my mom is the other way.
Mm,
Cold, very, very cold, ice
mm,
cold.
mm-hmm.
But then we are making snowballs and throwing them at your face, so you have to feel this
You
cold.
will
It's
feel the
not
pain.
like you feel it coming.
Mm.
You
You
will
see
you
it.
will see it, and it will land on your face hard.
Mm,
So that is a part of me that I'm working on a lot.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also things that I just do now as self-care. So things like I talked about going to bed
Mm-hmm.
early. It's eating right.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh
just
yes.
that.
Food.
And I don't do diets.
Mm.
Never been a fan of diets. I have never, like leaving out carbohydrates or just doing. I've never done any diet. So what I do is I eat healthy things. And of course, there are times when you can eat a lot of healthy things, and at some point, it's just a lot. But I take care of myself in that way, just eating good food, really good food, a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits, a lot of nuts, and not drinking alcohol is a big one now for me. And I am sleeping so much better, so much better, and reading a lot about what what makes one sleep better, like the alcohol, not drinking coffee late in the afternoon. So I drink my last cup of coffee between 12 and 1, then I'm done. And going out in the morning, getting sunlight in the morning, that's really important. I didn't know about circadian rhythm. I'm reading a lot about that. Circadian rhythm is how your body has a clock, and this clock is automatically there. So you just have to activate it. Like you activate it with normal human, or the way human beings are supposed to be, is that you wake up, you go out, you get sunlight. That is what our ancestors used to do. That is what, and then when your body gets this sunlight, it sends a message into your body, and your hormones know, okay, it's time to wake up now. So the hormones that are supposed to be working during the day, like, for your metabolism, for your brain, they are awake, and they are woken up by sunlight. So you should be
Which
able to
does
get.
not exist in Germany.
Yeah, but even if it's not there, like the sunlight, I was saying, sometimes you feel like the sun is just coming out, tells you "fuck you," and then it goes back.
Away.
Yeah. That's how it feels like sometimes. But it's still there. The light is still there, even when you're not seeing. So when the sun is not coming out directly, you're supposed to be a little longer outside, like 30 minutes. When the sun is really shining, 8 minutes are enough to just get that sunlight into your eyes. Okay. So what that does, like, it wakes your system. It starts your clock. And then you go through the day, and your hormones are functioning the way they are supposed to do. There's these hormones you need during the day. I don't want to go a lot into that. And then towards evening, when you also get a bit, that is not so important like the morning sun, but if you can also manage to get the evening sun, means, okay, your body knows it's evening. So it starts having less of the hormones that you don't need in the evening, and the evening hormones that will tell your body it's now time to sleep, like melatonin. And yeah. And I'm trying to do that a lot now, and I'm seeing that it's really working. I just go out in the morning. Sometimes I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking, but then around 8:30, the sun is coming out at around 8:30 at the moment. So I'll just go out for, depending on whether the sun is out really or not, I'll go out and have morning sunlight, and it's helping a lot. So I'm kind of, and then when you're aging and you're getting into menopause, like I am, because I'll be 44 in March. So that's an age where you're really supposed to start. You're supposed to start earlier. You're supposed to take care of yourself the whole of your life. But this is even more important. It's about also the supplements you take, the food you eat. It's so important at this age, and I feel like I am really into it right now. And I do also grounding. Some things are, we were always doing them.
Yeah.
Like this grounding.
Like grounding is just walking barefoot. Barefoot.
Walking barefoot. We always did that.
Yeah.
We didn't know how important that is. We were just doing it. So it's, when we are being told to eat beans all the time, we have always eaten beans. We have always eaten vegetables. We have always walked barefoot. We didn't have Wi-Fi in the house. We didn't have, so all these things were never a topic.
You didn't need to be taught.
You didn't need to be taught. They were just happening in the normal way. And when I read this book, sometimes I just laugh because I think like this was my life.
Yeah.
It's not anything new.
Yeah.
But I have, of course, because I've adopted a lot of the lifestyle that is here now. I have now to go back and learn to do this again and
Yeah,
integrate these
relearning.
things into my life right now.
Yeah.
Because my life is so much different from what it used to be. And that needs energy and a lot of consciousness to do these things. And sauna,
Sauna.
heat is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
This cold warm is also for your for your metabolism, for a lot of things. It helps a lot. So
And
we
it
always do that.
feels
It
good.
feels good.
I do a lot of sauna. I don't know what it does. I can't tell you what is
Mm,
happening right now
yeah,
in my
yeah.
body, but I just know it does me well.
Mm,
And I think the body just always knows.
yeah, yeah.
And of course, you've taught me a lot about food. And I used to think I have a problem with Sodbrennen.
Mm,
What is it called in English?
yeah.
Not ulcers.
Acid
Reflux.
reflux. Yeah.
Because sometimes it was so painful. It
Mm,
will even get to my back.
mm,
It's just pain.
mm,
And and then we had a conversation about the time I was eating
mm.
and
Eating
just
late at
pushing,
night.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
pushing that time to 2 hours before that.
Mm,
I am not having reflux
yeah,
issues anymore.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes then I will go to get some medicine and still continue with that behavior.
Yeah.
And it's just not helpful.
Mm,
Food really, I I'm so grateful that right now I don't have to fight with me wanting to eat healthy
mm,
food.
mm,
I do it automatically.
mm.
Like
That's
I
good to
really look
hear.
forward to really going to boil my own black eyed peas.
Yeah.
Because you remember there's a time, especially when I'm in a lot of fear, I used to go to the supermarket and buy cake and eat it.
Yeah.
And this sugar, bready stuff, it just makes me
Mm,
feel,
yeah.
my body doesn't feel good.
Mm.
And whether there is a research behind it or not, my body
You
always
feel
tells
it.
me,
You feel it.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
wake up.
like knowing a lot
Mm,
about, and I'm reading a lot now about the science behind these things.
yeah.
I need to understand that because I also want to give this information to people in a
And it's
way
your
that,
job
yeah,
also.
I really feel like I like sharing.
Mm,
So I'm trying to learn as much as is possible for me to
mm,
be able to give this information in a correct way. And that is why I don't want to get into, just just speaking about it now in a shallow way. I
mm-hmm.
want us to go into these topics, and I'm looking forward to having these conversations about what our body needs at this age, about
Mm,
menopause. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not, but I've read a lot,
yeah.
and there are so many of us who don't have this information, and
Mm,
maybe even saying, where do you get this information?
yeah.
Yeah, that is also
Even that,
enough.
big visor.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
And I'm looking forward to more of these conversations.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one.
Good one. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Thank you too.
I've learned a lot again. It was a good
Yeah.
conversation.
Every time, it doesn't have to be much, but slowly, slowly. That's
Mm,
also how I'm learning. And when I learn something, I like giving it to someone else. If somebody can take it, okay. If not,
mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
I feel like I've done my job.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you
And
take you just like I learned from you, I see you learn from me in the things that I can teach you, and I take the things that you can teach me. And
yeah.
yeah,
What
that's
else
what
would we
friends are
need?
for.
Exactly. I go
Yeah, we gotta
collecting
go now.
breadcrumbs. Yeah.
Yeah, because you have a train to catch,
I have a
like
train to
always.
catch.
Yeah,
And I can tell you guys the train situation in Germany is a nightmare.
maybe we should have that conversation.
We should have that conversation. Somebody
Mm.
just suggested that we need to,
Yes.
because the trains right now, they are a nightmare. And when I say that, I'm not exaggerating. Sometimes I need 3 hours for a journey that I would normally need 30 minutes with a car.
Yeah.
It's just,
Mm.
and right now it's very cold in Germany. So now imagine standing at the train station. It's very cold. It's minus degrees, and the train is not coming, and you don't know when it will come.
Mm.
Now that is very frustrating.
It is.
So,
is. And I feel so much for you. And sometimes I'm so sorry, but yeah.
but I'm getting a car in a
Yeah.
few months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Why?
This one or
We're
this
keeping our
one?
fingers crossed.
Yeah, Germany is here.
I don't know what
and
you
then
do.
Kenya is here. You cross your fingers. And here, whatever. We are
Who
praying.
does this though?
Here
No
in
one
Germany.
does this.
What do they do here?
Fingers crossed.
No. Christian. Downdrucken.
Downdrucken.
Ja, natürlich.
Ah.
Of course, German is downdrucken.
Why do they do that?
Downdrucken.
Das
Why do we
stimmt.
do that?
Stimmt, they say, yeah, stimmt.
Yeah,
I
ich
totally
drücke den Daumen.
My God.
And we cross our fingers for you. We are doing all of it. We are doing this and we
we're
are doing
crossing
this.
everything.
And we are
We're
closing
even
the eyes
crossing
and
our
we are
legs.
praying and all of it. All of it. Bye-bye, guys. See you next week.
Have a nice one. We love you. Subscribe,
Yes,
follow, and
yes.
share.
And comment. Tell
And
us
comment.
what you're doing to take care of yourself. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.